Onions, onions, la la la. Onions, onions, ha ha ha. Do 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 do. Hello and welcome to the Weave Your Web 2024. Wait, is it 2024? It is, isn't it? Yes.
Still is, yeah.
Finale. And as you can hear, I am joined by the absolutely wonderful Inbaal. Do you have a sense of deja vu?
You know what? Not enough.
Not enough.
Not enough, if you ask me. Not enough. No, no. Should should have a much stronger sense of deja vu, but no, I don't feel like we do this nearly enough.
Well, it's funny because we're recording the finale today, and I had heard from someone who I hadn't heard from since the last time that we did a finale.
Oh, wait. 7 years ago?
Yeah, so all the way back in 2017, I'd heard from this person. She was a fan of the show. She'd got in touch a few times to talk about the show. And then today, there she was. After all that time. Yeah, so I was like, oh, that's a really beautiful, sign. It's,
Yeah, something is right.
Oh, of course. I'm your host, Tor James Faulkner. Completely forgot to introduce myself. I was too busy giggling and introducing Inbaal. Like I say, this is the Weave Your Web 2024 finale. Don't panic. I know some of you have heard me say finale before, and it was a good 6 years in between. Don't panic. That's not going to be the case this time. The plan is to have the show coming back around February. I also said that the last time too, but I promise it's not going to be 6 years. It's the plan is to bring it back around February, and we've got a lovely finale show for you. But first of all, Inbaal and I are going to have a bit of a chat about the different ways in which you can work as a psychic. So first of all, to get the ball rolling, how did you go about setting up your psychic business?
I went about it initially entirely the wrong way. I thought, but no, I think it's important because I was brand new. I'd never run any sort of a business before, and I just literally left my day job and I was like, yeah, let's do this. And my plan was to put an ad in my local paper, and then out of the people who would no doubt flock to my services from there, build a business.
Mm.
That, as you can well imagine, and as I can tell you, that is not how that worked out. I put an ad in my local paper. I got a nice bargain for putting it on for 4 weeks, and absolutely nobody called.
Not one
Nobody,
person.
not even one, not a sausage.
Oh.
Funnily enough, no, this is actually, it's a funny question that you didn't realize it's a funny question. But 3.5 weeks go by and the local paper ring up and ask me whether I wanted to renew my ad. And I said, no, nobody called. And they're like, oh, that's interesting. And then 5 minutes later, somebody, I don't know who, called and just sort of made a quick inquiry. And I thought, wow, that's not suspicious at all that you're trying to get me to rebook. However, so I put the ad in the local paper, but I also put a message out to the universe that I would like for something to happen to help me along. And when I knew I was leaving the day job, but before I actually left, I went to see my friend Fred for Millennium Eve. It was New Year's Eve 1999. So I'd already left the day job. And on my way to his house, I saw an ad for a local psychic fair. And I thought, isn't that a funny coincidence? And, and it was a very funny coincidence. And I took the details of that psychic fair and rang them up. And it was, in fact, that psychic fair where I ended up working for the next almost 3 years.
That's
So
incredible.
the adverts was a total spend of, I think, something like £55 at an earn of zero, £0.
Yeah.
£55 is about $70. £0 is exactly $0. So it's very, very, poor return on investment.
Yeah.
But making a phone call, even though I was like on the really expensive phone price plan at the time, making a phone call to talk to the psychic fair and keeping my eyes open to notice that there
Yeah.
was an opportunity right in front of my face, that was very minimal investment with, I would say, very high return on investment. So that was how I started. How did you start? Because you started many times.
Well,
No shade, no shade, no shade, but because you've been working for, well, since childhood. So you started in the psychic world when it was like the analog age, and you started in the phone age, and you started again in the digital age. So you kind of reactivated things again and again. So I think that's a better story.
hold on. I want to pick up on
What?
something that you said first of all.
Ah, go on.
So, a couple of episodes back, I was
Yeah,
talking about the important step that people miss with the law of attraction specifically, which is to take the opportunity which is presented. So you said you put out a
yeah,
message to the universe, right? So that was you saying, I want this.
yeah.
And
I
then
did.
you looked for the literal sign. You got a literal sign for the
Yeah,
psychic fair, and you took
yeah.
it. And now, all these years later, you are still rolling. You are, the UK's biggest celebrity psychic. Um,
Thank you.
all of that because you looked for the sign. And part of what I was talking about in that episode, because I really wanted to take people back to the basics of the law of attraction, that um, it might not be the end goal opportunity that approaches first. It could be, in your case, it was the psychic fair. For the example I used at the time, was it might be a
Mm,
karaoke competition if somebody wants to be a singer. And so I
yeah.
just wanted to highlight that because it really clicks in well with what's been on the show recently, and you didn't know that, so
No,
absolutely
no, but
fantastic.
I've got to tell you something completely crazy, which I don't know if I've told you before. I was on my friend Anna's podcast, um, maybe 3, 4 years ago,
Mm,
and um, she asked me about how I first came to read cards at all. And I said to her, I was living in Greece and I needed a new job. So, and I kind of laid out the story of how I met the lady who originally taught me the cards
yeah,
because she was my boss in that new job. And when I was telling Anna the story, she was like, "Oh wow, that's really funny because you asked for a new job and you got a job for the rest of your life."
yeah,
And it blew my mind wide open because I never realized that. I never realized that when I put out the message that I needed a new job, that the universe was like, how about a whole new career for the next 30 years? Will that do? I thought the fact that I got a shop job for 6 weeks was it. That was the win. That was the big win. But that lady who gave me a shop job for 6 weeks because the season is short,
mm,
um, also taught me how to read the tarot. And that changed the course of my entire life. So, yeah, putting a message out there is, kind of that's half the battle,
yeah,
maybe even less than half. But then being super open that things might come from directions where you wouldn't even anticipate,
yeah,
that that is the actual work. And I'm optimistic to the point of it probably being, a disease. My optimism is My optimism is the kind of thing that, if I register with a new doctor, I need to make sure that they have it in my notes.
Yeah.
And that is 100% the outcome of seeing how efficiently the universe has always responded to my requests. And I really don't think I'm that special. I think the universe will respond to anybody's request.
Yeah.
You just have to notice, you just have to see what is there for you, and you have to believe that it is there for you, that
Yeah.
it's yours.
Yeah.
Jump up, claim it.
And I feel like this would be a good time to point this out as well from the law of attraction perspective. And don't worry, listeners, I know that this wasn't this wasn't the topic, but the law of attraction is always working. So putting out your request and then going, "Oh, I don't think that's going to happen," then you're telling the universe right away that you don't want it, because the law of
Yeah.
attraction is always, always working. So yeah, putting out the message is a tiny bit of the battle, but then it's, doing all the other parts and making sure that you are seeing the opportunities.
And even if they don't look like opportunities, give them a go. Give them, if you
Exactly.
decide that you don't like it, fine, then, change your mind. It's really, really okay to change your mind. Nobody's going to judge you because you change. And if they do, that's also fine. That's
Yeah.
their prerogative. But changing your mind is an entirely valid way of dealing with situations that no longer suit you. That's also cool.
I love that. It's okay to change your mind. I don't think enough people understand that. It's okay to change your mind.
It really is. And I think in a very, very old movie once, I remember that as a sentence, it's a woman's prerogative to change her mind. It was the first time I heard the word prerogative.
Hmm.
So that is a long time ago. And I always carried that with me. And I always sort of thought it's a woman's prerogative to change her mind. Now, you know me personally,
Yeah.
and you know that I struggle with changing my mind. It's not something that comes naturally to me. I hate admitting that I got things wrong. I hate admitting that I miscalculated, but it's still entirely my prerogative. And when I do change my mind, I don't carry a guilt about it with me, or a sense of shame, or a sense of failure. What happens? Yeah, I don't want to do it anymore.
Mm.
This is it. This is the long and the short of it. Why aren't you doing it anymore? Because I don't want to. And it's, sorry to sort of go on a whole tangent, but I used to run a local pagan moot in Clapham. Clapham was a part of London that was very, very run down, and then got um, had some investing sort of put into it, and it became more up and coming. And it was a part of London that I knew quite well because I worked in a shop there years ago, absolute aeons ago. So I had a friend there who said, "Oh, it's really sad we don't have a pagan moot here." And I was like, "Oh, why don't you start one?" And she was like, "Oh, I don't want to do it alone." I was like, "Oh, I'll do it with you. I know the area." Anyway, she soon became pregnant, and so wasn't running the moot with me
Hmm.
anymore, which is cool. It's her prerogative to change her mind. Um, and I ran it for a couple of years, and then didn't want to do it anymore. It was not as much fun as it was in the beginning, and I wasn't enjoying it, so I stopped. And
Yeah.
the girl who used to come said, "Oh, do you mind if I take it over for you?" And I was like, "Yeah, don't mind that at all. No, be my guest, enjoy it." And she was like, "How come you stopped?" And I was like, "Oh, because I didn't want to do it anymore." And she said, did it fail?" And I was like, no, I don't have a concept. Like, the word failure is absolutely meaningless. Nothing failed. It's just it's just not there anymore. It's not
Yeah.
happening. What's so hard to understand? No.
No, I'm the same. I don't carry guilt or any kind of pressure or any feeling of
Yes,
failure
pressure.
if I change my mind. I often find it quite freeing, like especially if it's
Yeah.
something that I'm not enjoying. Maybe I started out really enjoying it, and then maybe, this happens and that happens, and you just sort of go, oh, maybe it's
Not
time to
fun
move on
anymore.
from this. It feels like, okay, great, I've done that. And then it feels like a freeing thing to open up, new things to come in, let somebody else take over, let them enjoy it or not, whatever it might be. Um, so yeah, let's get back on topic.
Yeah, sorry.
No, don't be sorry. It's fantastic. So I kind of started, I think, probably through word of mouth at first. It
Mm.
was kind of, I told the story on your show on the Bigfoot Outlaw Grizzly Network about how
Mm.
when I properly realized I was psychic, it was Mary at a psychic fair, or like a psychic fair as part of a festival, who kind of helped me and, told me I was psychic and it's part of what I would be doing and stuff like that. And so from there, it kind of became word of mouth. It would, people would ring up and say, can I have a reading? What do you pick up? And then I, I mean, I suppose that was a business in itself, but it was kind of, it was very much word of mouth business.
Yeah.
There was like there was no ads, there was no, like, nothing official. So I suppose when I see myself as properly starting my business, it was actually Res Miranda. And I'll never forget this because it was one of the nicest things that anybody has ever done for me. So I was already doing like little bits of readings online, but again, it was still word of mouth, even though it had changed from, knocking on the front door. It was then, knocking on the DM
Yeah.
box. So she must have spent absolutely ages doing this. I got a massive email from her. I must have asked her for, some advice. And I got this massive email, step by step, instruction by instruction, on how to set up everything I needed to have a psychic business, primarily online, but there was also information about other stuff. Everybody that I needed to talk to, everything that I needed to have, making sure that I had a separate phone number, for phone calls. And it really, it
Wow.
went from there. And the first place that I set up business online was a place called Kasamba, which was
Yeah, I remember
fantastic. Do you remember
Cassandra.
Kasamba? It was
Wow.
great. Yeah. Which was great because you could have like a full self-contained business on there where you could take chat readings, phone readings, email readings. Clients could post a request if they didn't know which psychic they wanted, and then the psychics could reply to the request, and then they'd pick one or two. Um, yeah, so it was absolutely fantastic. It was a really good, not necessarily way to start because I'd already been working, but it was a good way to get into the more professional side, the online side. And of course, I had the sort of added um, thing of needing some anonymity
Yeah, I
because
know her.
because I was a pop singer at the time, and back then, back in 2006, whatever it was, you couldn't be a
You
pop
couldn't be
singer
both.
and a psychic.
Couldn't be.
So I had a really cute
Yeah.
little nickname, and yeah, it was quite sweet because I'd be out in the studio or performing like in the daytime, sometimes in the evening too. But I was young, so it was often like daytime stuff. Um, then I'd come home and I'd have a bath, and then I'd get the cards out, and I'd be it felt like it sounds silly, but it kind of felt like being Buffy the Vampire, being Buffy the Vampire Slayer or something, where it was kind of
Oh,
like this
Hannah Montana.
yes, Hannah Montana, something like that, where it was like this kind of secret life that nobody knew
Yeah.
about. um and it was like that for a few years, and I really enjoyed that. Now we both ended up being TV psychics.
Yeah. You know what? I'm still completely blown away that she did that for you.
It was such a
That's
beautiful thing to do.
so beautiful. It's such a generosity of spirit.
Yeah.
take the time and to know that she believed in you, because you wouldn't sit around and type it for somebody who wouldn't value it
Yeah.
and who wouldn't understand what what a life-changing um action that is. I'm still completely blown away. Sorry if I sound distracted, but that's just a, what an amazing thing to do.
No, it is. It is an amazing thing to do, and it's such a beautiful thing to highlight. And even though we're not in touch at the moment, Res Miranda and I, for reasons, um, I'll never, I'll never forget it. And I think it's really important to kind of revere her for that, and to always kind of hold that
Mm,
close, that she took that time and that effort, and essentially was giving away her secrets, because at that point she had
yeah,
already been working in the industry for a long time. I think she started in like 1990 or something. So
goodness me.
she was, and like that as well. I hope she probably, I hope she won't mind me saying, if she hears this, it was very similar to you, where she had a day job and she was just like, F this, walked out,
Yeah.
became a psychic the next day. Um, Professional psychic, I should say, because she was already a
Yeah, probably
psychic.
became a psychic years earlier,
Yeah,
but yes, changed job description the same day.
yeah. So it was, giving away all her secrets, all her tips and tricks, and also she really helped me as well. I think it's important to point this out. She really helped me too, in terms of honing the tarot skills specifically, because that's
Yeah,
an art in and of itself, as you know. Being psychic is one thing, but sort of honing and learning tools is a very
yeah.
special skill in itself, I think. And
Achieving any kind of excellence in your chosen platform is, it can take a lifetime.
yeah, yeah, and she was really, really instrumental in that. As were you, actually, because
Oh,
bringing it
I
back
wasn't
round again,
expecting that.
we both ended up as TV psychics. You were a few years ahead of me, so
I was a few years older than you.
you were already on TV doing readings while I was having my morning coffee, and I used to practice along with you. But how was the general experience of being a TV psychic for you? How did it come about, briefly, and what was that like? What was it like working at Psychic Interactive? Was it good? Was it awful? All the
It was,
things.
you know what? It was the best. It was the best, and it was the best. The best of times, the worst of times. But it was the best in so many ways. It came about, like everything, completely by chance. I had, I want to say, a phone call. Yeah, I had a phone call um, from a new company, and it wasn't especially for me. They rang loads of psychics, everyone in the phone book. Do you remember phone books? So
No.
I'm 5'1". I remember phone books. There were thick books by the door that you would stand on when you needed 2 inches to get something. If you're tall, you wouldn't remember phone books. There were phone books, and it was the yellow pages, and the new company went through all the psychics in the yellow pages to talk to them, which is, by the way, also how Big Brother found me. That is the glamour of it. Um, and for younger listeners, the yellow pages is what we used to call Google in the olden days. And and the new company said, we're setting up a psychic show. Would you like to come in and audition? And I said, what I think was a fabulous answer. I said, I'm actually on TV tonight. So, as part of the audition, if you want, you can watch me on, it was Housebusters. It was
Oh
Housebusters.
yes.
It was showing that day. So I don't think they did, but I came in and gave the new producer a reading. And I remember saying to her, split up with your partner. And she's like, oh no, we're just going for like our seventh anniversary dinner tonight. And then they split up and I got the job. And literally, literally. And apparently, they interviewed lots and lots of psychics, or rang lots and lots of psychics, and there are not that many, or there weren't at the time before the digital age, there weren't many who were good at the psychic stuff and also capable on camera.
Mm-hmm.
That landscape is very, very different now because people are very at ease. They have cameras at home, they film themselves all the time. But that is a very long time ago, and you needed to have a very specific personality
Yeah.
to sustain an on camera persona, on camera chatter. And what I understood is that they tested loads of people, and the day of the first show came on,
Mm-hmm.
and it was me. It was me, and that producer who was also a psychic herself, and a Reiki guy who at the time was a huge deal on the Reiki scene and isn't anymore, and I don't know exactly why, and I'm not going to Google him. So it was the three of us. No, because you know what happened. I'm gonna say something, but because there's absolutely no way that anybody would know who it is, then oh no, it's still a little Googleable. But no, the other day I remembered somebody that I used to kind of work with years and years and years ago. And I thought, wow, it's funny that I haven't heard about him or from him anywhere. I sort of
Yeah.
read the psychic magazines and, listen to psychic podcasts. And his name just never came up. And I Googled it. And he was in trouble,
Oh
like
no.
bad trouble. Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
no.
So I'm not Googling this guy who was on the first show with us. And then the very first show, we broadcasted for an hour, and then the bosses of the channel in Italy pulled the plug because they didn't really understand that we were going to go on air, and they panicked because it wasn't exactly what their broadcasting license was due to
Ah.
cover. Anyway, so they pulled the plug within an hour, and then we kind of sat by the phone and waited to see what would happen. I gave it up for lost. It's fine, it's fine. We're self-employed. You do stuff. Sometimes it works out. Sometimes it doesn't work out. No big deal. But a month later, um, it was restarting again,
Mm-hmm.
and I on the day that it started, I actually had a ticket to sort of fly out and see my family for 3 weeks. So
Oh
I
no.
went for 3 weeks. No, it was really cool. It was really cool. You know what, babe? I believe in divine timing so much. My main sort of religious affiliation is divine timing. I
Mm-hmm.
believe in divine timing to my dying breath. So I figured, oh, it's funny that it was a coincidence that the date of my flight was the date of them first starting. I thought that's a really interesting coincidence.
Mm-hmm.
That is for me like clear proof that it was the right thing for me to get on that plane. And I did, and I had a marvelous holiday. And then I came back, and the day after I came back, I joined. And by then, the producer had brought in a friend of hers who was kind of psychic, and he brought a friend of his who was very, very wonderfully psychic and glamorous, and we were a little team. And I brought in somebody who was kind of huge. He was a huge deal at the time, and he became even huger. So we were a team of about six psychics. We were assigned one presenter, and that was that first year, and it was incredible. Do you know if you go like on holiday somewhere and people go to you, oh yeah, you should have come here, when it first got big, it was amazing. Or if you start going to a club and people go to you, oh yeah, if you were here the first year, you'd have seen it was such a vibe. That was the first year on Vancouver. It was incredible.
Yeah. Yeah.
We could talk about whatever we wanted. We could talk about witchcraft. We could talk about the intricacies of the tarot. We weren't really on the radar of any broadcasting, um, what would you call regulators.
Yeah.
Obviously, we didn't do anything illegal or immoral, but we had a lot of freedom. We had one regular producer who supported us to do whatever we wanted.
Mm-hmm.
We had a couple of producers on the computers who were great friends of ours and very creative, and they would try different things. And if we had a musician friend, they'd be like, oh yeah, bring them in. I brought a girl that played the harp,
The
so we had
harp.
that.
That's beautiful. Oh
It
wait, that
was
they
just,
still use that, I think, don't they? The
do
harp
they?
music? I think so. Yes.
Well, that would be incredible because that was 20 years ago. That was a long time ago. But amazing if they still do. And that first year, we were amazing friends. We only worked for a few hours,
Mm-hmm.
and it wasn't like well paid like TV money, but it was still really, really not bad.
Yeah.
So after having been self-employed for a few years, it was, incredible for me to have a salary. So we would go and eat out together, and we ended up living together. We would do photo shoots together. It was just so empowering. And knowing that there were people watching was so aligned with like my mission statement as a human being.
Yeah.
My biggest thing, I really love making this whole world accessible. It's such a candle to me. I don't
Yeah.
know how to say it correctly, but it's such an inspiration to me that somebody who sits at home and thinks, wow, psychics, that's a huge deal. And I can go to them, no, no, babe, pick up a crystal ball. I'll bet you could do it.
Yeah.
Okay, not a crystal ball. Fine. Deck of tarot. Don't like the tarot. You don't like the devil card there. No problem. Maybe playing cards. There's no devil there.
Yeah.
Try that.
Yeah.
I love making all of this accessible because the esoteric belongs to everyone.
It does.
It's not the right. It's not the like realm. It's not the domain of a select few. And I feel like that all those years ago, that really kind of started a huge wave of normalizing the mystical world to, to everybody in every region of every age.
It did because at some point or other, as well as Psychic Interactive having their own channel, there was slots in and around other channels. So, you'd be flicking through, you'd see this lovely, I mean, it looked, I think Psychic Today looked beautiful on screen.
Oh,
And
thank
so
you.
um it was engaging to watch. It was interactive. You would see your message on the screen a few moments after sending it in, or there would be the excitement of waiting if it was a busier time. And so yeah, the fact that it was normalized in amongst these sort of other channels and slotted in around, like maybe it would have a slot on a shopping channel, or maybe it would have a slot on I think one of them was one of the drama channels, right? So
Ah,
it just,
wow, yeah.
yeah, so it completely normalized it, and it brought it round to being like, okay, these people are psychic, they're going to be on your screen for 2 hours giving readings. Join in, come and join us, join in. And that's what I like about it. It's the come and join us, join in, that really,
Yeah.
in fact, I remember back when I was a viewer of the show, and I'd maybe have like friends and stuff sleeping over, because I was still that young that I was having sleepovers.
Yeah.
And we'd be flicking through the channels in the morning, and then you'd be and it got them interested when they had never been interested in, you know, anything psychic or spiritual before, but because it was presented in such a join our gang sort of way, they were
Yeah,
hooked. They were interested. They were saying, let's text in. Let's, you know, oh, wait, you've got cards, haven't you, Tor? Why don't you pull me a few cards once this is done? Do you know what I mean? So it really did bring people
absolutely.
round to the idea who maybe had no clue before.
And do you know what's funny? That now I think for anybody under the age of 30 that may have had smartphones and social media and streaming and live broadcasting from somebody's home to somebody's home for their entire adult life,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't sound that innovative. But at the time, you had TV
Mm-hmm.
and you had the people at home, and those were two completely different kingdoms. And
Right.
what the interactive element did was blur the lines. And me, I love a blurred line.
Me
You know
too.
what I mean?
Yeah, me
Not
too.
not in a negative way, but I think nobody is any more special than anybody else. We are all special. We are all phenomenal. So for somebody who's sitting at home, maybe even at their lowest ebb, maybe they've lost somebody,
Mm-hmm.
and they can text into the screen, and the person on the screen is empathic to them and relating to them. It was in one way completely innovative and mind blowing,
Yeah.
but in another way, exactly the right thing to happen.
Yeah.
And I actually remember watching the show as as a viewer. It was after I left, and after I went to their competitors, and after I left them as well, and and I moved up to Yorkshire. So, for international listeners, that's 4.5 hours away from the studio.
Yeah.
And I had my first baby, and I sat on the sofa in a new county. Um, for the first 6 weeks, my husband didn't have a job, and then at 6 weeks and a day, I was there with a 6-week-old baby, still very, very very new friend, very difficult to understand what she wants. It
Yeah.
was all like, weeing and crying. And I switched the TV on, and there they were. There were my friends, and I texted in, and they were going, "Oh, everybody say hi to Inbaal and her new baby." And people were waving, and I was sat on the sofa crying because I wasn't alone. And it was, to me, in that moment,
Mm-hmm.
such a huge deal, such an enormous, huge deal before you even bring a reading into it. That's even before, that's like the most basic setting of it, of just
Yeah.
watching your people that do care about you.
And it really was that kind of sense. I mean, obviously for you, they were real friends, right? These were people that you actually knew. But I feel like for a lot of viewers, the people in the studio, the people on screen, felt like friends in a sense because, particularly if they were texting or calling in a lot, there was, okay, it would be a parasocial relationship. I cannot speak today.
It's
Do
a
you know
hard
what's
word.
do you know what's funny? People pay me to speak, and then I can't speak half the time. But yeah, so it would be like a parasocial relationship, but it would be company for a lot of people because we were on screen for hours and hours at a time. And I say we because 11 years later, TJ
Yeah.
TJ appeared onto the
TJ Psychic appeared.
psychic
Absolutely.
psychic. I think it
People
was.
still remember you from when you were a viewer, though.
Do
People still
they?
do remember you. Yes,
Uh
yeah. I,
oh.
somebody that I caught up with yesterday at the time of filming this, on screen, and I said to her, "Do you remember what your username was?" And she was like, "Oh, of course I remember." No,
Ah,
people even remember you as a viewer. You can't fake caring. You can't fake caring. I
that's
mean, it
so
would
sweet.
show, especially on the screen.
Mm.
We really did care, and we really do care. And when people go, "Oh, are you in contact with, what your username was at the time? How is he? How is he doing? What is he up to?" Really, really caring.
Yeah.
And there's at least one other person who is good friends with me, who was a viewer on the show as well. And, I don't know if that's something about me that I remain friends with people who used to be
Mhm.
um, sort of parasocial, who used to be fans,
Yeah.
but the but a human connection is a human connection.
Exactly. A human connection is a human connection. I think my experience with Psychic Today, as it was when I was there, was probably a little different to yours, though. Unfortunately, I'm listening to your experience, and I'm like, I wish it was like that when I was there.
Exactly. It's just like the resort. It's just like the club. If you were there the first year,
Yeah,
it was just extraordinary.
but it was 11 years later for me. It was sanitized
Yeah,
within an inch
that's
of its
exactly the
life.
word. Yeah. Yeah, it's been through the car wash.
We couldn't even say for a long, long time while I was there. I was there for 5 years in total. Uh,
Longer than me.
And for most of that time, we couldn't say tarot, we couldn't say angel, we couldn't say witch, we couldn't say runes, we couldn't say script. Like, I could, like, literally every psychic spiritual word that you can think of, apart from reading,
Yeah.
we couldn't say. It made it really, really difficult to do the reading sometimes. So if you sometimes watch, like, maybe my footage or footage from people who were on around a similar time, it looks like we're talking in riddles a lot of the time because we had to. And we had to sort of
Mm.
hope and assume that the viewers would kind of grasp what we were trying to say, and we would have to sort of bang the card in a specific spot so that the viewer would maybe, be able to read
Get
it
it.
themselves. Or um yeah, so it was, like I say, it was very sanitized, and it wasn't scripted, but because there was so much that we couldn't say and we had to say things in such a certain way, it almost felt like it was scripted, so we didn't have the freedom to be ourselves as much.
Yeah,
To
that's
like
right. Because if you're minding every word that comes out of your mouth, that's not really, yeah, it's not really you celebrating your own personality.
Yeah, so it was a bit more performative. I think when I was there, it was a bit, and I suppose it's similar to like if you watch Big Brother now, everybody knows what Big Brother's about. Big Brother's been on, for 20 odd years all around the world, as has versions of Psychic Interactive, of course. Um,
Mm,
but somebody going into Big Brother now, they know what to expect. It's also like Psychic Interactive. It's completely sanitized. The live feed is a lot, it's stripped back. It's like 2 hours a night, so they don't have the whole thing of like there's cameras on them 24 hours a day anymore. And I think it's unfortunate that a lot of shows from that time, like what people loved about the shows, has been stripped away.
yeah,
That kind of
yeah,
authenticity has been kind of put on the back burner, unfortunately.
yeah,
But I wouldn't
yeah.
change it for the world. I feel like I went to Psychic Today at the right time for me. And I only originally applied to do the texts. The texts that come through. Um,
Yeah.
that backstage, not even on the screen. That was all I applied for. And somebody just gave me a camera shift. I don't. I didn't apply. I didn't ask. Somebody just gave me a shift. I was like, "What's this?" They're like, "Yeah, you're on TV. Start in January. You're on TV." I'm like, "Excuse me." And
But but my question to you is, did you want it on some level? Did you want it? Did you put that out to the universe and it just happened?
I think yes. I'm gonna say yes, but I think they handed me the TV schedule because I was outed by one of the magazines. Do you remember?
Oh, yeah, I know what item it was as well, wasn't it? Um, the
The fairies, the fairy.
Like cards, the cards.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one means this and this one means that. Oh, it was a fabulous. Gosh, it was a huge, huge item.
Thank you.
How many pages did you get?
I think it was about 6.
It was a huge item. Yeah, it was the majority. And it wasn't just, some everyday magazine. Again, international listeners, the UK is so fortunate to have a whole array of psychic magazines, or it did at the time.
Hmm.
The economy hit them a little bit badly, but it was the leading psychic magazine.
Yeah.
It was the ultimate psychic magazine.
That's twice you've made me blush now.
No, but it's yeah, no, it was not intended as a compliment. It was intended as an observation, a speakery of truth.
But yeah, so I did that for them, but they were like, oh yeah, Tor James Faulkner joining Psychic today. I was like, am I?
Welcome. You're
So
like, who?
who? Picture of me. I think was it the picture of me and Nobby on one page and the picture of my face on another page, because I was very excited because I was beside Nina Ashby. That's how you say her name, right?
Yeah.
And I was so thrilled because to me, she's one of my idols. I absolutely adore her.
She was the chairperson of, I think, the British Astrological Psychic Society at the time. That's huge.
Amazing. Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, within like
I remember that picture of you and the little doggy baby with the cloak, right?
yeah, and he was a baby at the time. He was literally a baby at the time. Not so
Teeny
much now.
tiny.
He was teeny tiny. So what would you what one tip, because we need to wrap this section up.
Yes.
Unfortunately, we could talk about this for 10 hours, I'm sure.
A year. Yeah.
What one tip would you give to the listeners about setting up their own psychic business?
So now, starting it now with all the, social media that's available to us and everything, I would say decide if you want to be local or global.
Hmm.
If you want to be local, doing parties, doing psychic fairs, doing working men's clubs, doing, evenings in the local pub, doing evenings in a slightly less local pub, go on Facebook. If you prefer to be mostly on Zoom and go international, go onto Instagram. Show your face. I'm going to say this again. Show your face. Show people who you are. Show people you're not a bot.
Hmm.
And just connect with your audience. Do free readings. Do free horoscopes. Do educational reels. Do goofy reels. Connect with your audience. Sooner or later, somebody will ask you what you charge for a reading. But get out there and connect with your people. I think there's a really weird perception by people who sort of come in new and fresh that we're all in competition with each other. And in this industry, you could
No,
not be more wrong.
no.
You collaborate. Any psychic worth their salt will take collaboration over competition any time of the day, any day of the week. And so, the community is not against you. The community is with you. The community is for you. Reach out. We're all around. We're all there. There's so many of us now.
And that's a really good point, because not all psychics are for all clients, so it's better to be collaborative, so that I can say, well, I don't really do that, but maybe Inbaal will do that, or
Yeah.
somebody else. And I really love your tip, and I would just like to add to that, if you don't have enough experience to get on like a psychic platform, which we didn't really get to touch on, unfortunately, if you don't have enough experience to get on one of those, or you don't have the know-how to set up a website, set up a PayPal, put a couple of readings on somewhere like Etsy or Fiverr, just so that you've got somewhere to show people where people can leave reviews. And that will open doors for you, as well as showing your face and everything that Inbal said. that will open doors for you. And essentially, by setting up a PayPal business, you've got a business account there, and you can even get like, a debit card and everything that goes along with that, so you can keep it completely separate to your main bank account and stuff if you want. So yeah, just throw your readings up with some thought. Like I say, somewhere like Etsy and Fiverr, and do all the things that Inbaal just said. Show your face and connect with people.
That is fabulous. And really, maybe as an afterthought, don't overthink it.
Yeah.
Don't overthink it. Don't stop yourself from going out there by thinking, am I too expensive? Am I too cheap? Would people prefer it if I had a longer reading, a shorter reading? Don't overthink it. Your audience will tell you what it is they're after.
Exactly. And that's partly why I'm saying as well to put the readings on somewhere like Fiverr or Etsy, because there's already there's already a sort of like ready-made audience there. Like every day, hundreds of people are searching psychic readings on sites like that. And some of my longest standing clients have come from the brief times that I've been on places like that, because if a client really is drawn to you, they will follow you around. So if you move to your own website, if you move to a platform, if you move, to Timbuktu and have to communicate with smoke signals, they will be there. I promise you, they will absolutely be there. They will.
Yeah.
Okay, so
that's such good advice, because I wouldn't have even known to say a lot of these things. So
collaborative.
Fabulous advice.
Yeah, collaborative. See?
Collaboration over competition any day.
I'm Inbaal. Our essential oil blends at Inbaal's Apothecary Magical Oils are created by witches for witches. Hand blended in the New Forest and blessed personally by me. They're dermal grade magical oils for all your ritual and wellness needs.
I don't like rain or snow or hail, or Moby Dick, that great white whale, but I love onions. I don't like shoes that pinch your toes, or people who squirt you with a garden hose, but I love onions. Onions, onions, la la la. Onions, onions, ha ha ha. Do 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 do. Onions, onions, la la la. Onions, onions, ha ha ha. Do 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 do.
So I've got a little, it's just a short and sweet paranormal encounter. Sometimes we include these on the show. Just to see what people think, just to see how we feel about it. So I'm going to read this to you, Inbaal, and to the listeners, of course. It reads, I've lived in my house my entire life and never experienced anything paranormal before. My parents were already asleep and I was the only one still awake. It was around 11:03 p.m. This made me giggle because that's a very specific time to put around before. And I was getting ready to head to my room, so I turned off the last light that was still on, which was the light that is in the room next to my room. That's a tongue twister. I didn't have anything on. The TV was off and my phone was off, and I heard no noise coming from upstairs and outside. It was silent. But the moment I turn off the last light, I hear the voice of a boy say, "Hi." I was so shaken up by this, I went straight to my room to try to debunk what I had heard, but there was no reasonable explanation for this that I could think of. What could this have been? Could this have been a spirit? And this is from Don't Wake Me Up.
Wow.
It sounds spooky.
Have you, yeah, I know, but if you had situations where you just heard something, like clear as a bell.
Yeah.
I've had it really so few times too 3 times, but one of those times I was with my brother, who is a Taurus, which is
Hmm.
my way of saying, even if he was very psychic, he would not accept it or admit
Yeah,
to it. And he heard it clear as a bell.
clear
I
as a bell.
once got woken up from it,
Did you?
clear as a bell. Not a little boy, just like a grown-up voice, like a person talking to me. Not in a dream. It still reverberated in the air. And the time that I heard it with my brother, we were definitely awake. We were in a
Wow.
lift,
A lift. Oh, that is spooky.
right? It
That
was a
is
voice
spooky.
in the lift.
The last time it happened to me, it was a couple of years ago, and
Yeah,
I was sitting literally where I'm sitting now, but everything was like very, very quiet. I wasn't doing anything, and I heard my uncle, who passed away a few years ago, just yell my name really, really loudly, in the way that he would yell for me,
right.
as if he was behind me, as if he was coming up behind me the way that he used to when I was little, to give me, my dinner.
Yeah.
And that was like, there was no mistaking it. There was no mistaking who it was. There was no mistaking, what it was. And I wasn't scared or spooked because I knew it was my uncle. But it was startling because it was just completely out of nowhere. Do you think that? Obviously you were in a lift one of these times where it happened, where it was obviously all very electrical and lights and stuff. But do you think that when the electricity is off, and when we're kind of not really thinking about anything, do you think that makes it easier for, like a spirit to say hello?
I think what the spirit might have been saying hello for ages, but I think exactly as you say, when the lights are off, and even, without looking at the specifics there, but the fact that all the clothes are off, everything is more sensitive.
Yeah.
So there's no distractions, and it's possible that it has happened before, but some distraction, some light. If TV is on, then the spirit can talk your absolute ears off, but you might not hear it because you would associate it with something of this world.
Yeah.
But when all the distractions are gone, middle of the night, darkness, then then all of a sudden you're like, oh wait, this sound doesn't fit in here. So I think, yeah, exactly as you say.
Well, I believe that to be a spirit. That's my bottom line.
Yeah, I would say without a shadow of a doubt. Like, if that's not a spirit, what is? Yeah, you know what I
Exactly.
mean.
Yeah. I think, yeah. I agree. Shall we do some what do you call them, readings?
Yeah, we got some questions.
We do. We have a few. I think we have 4, if I'm counting correctly. If
Lovely.
that's all right. So, I think what we'll do is I'll read them to you. You take a couple of cards, and then I'll take an angel card to sort of tie it up in a nice little angelic bow.
Yeah.
The first one is quite a big question. Actually, I think they're pretty much, most of them are big questions, actually.
That's fine.
And it's from Beth. Beth, I know Beth personally, but she's also a big fan of the show. So thank you for getting in touch, Beth. And she asks, will I have to sell, and I'll come back around to that in a second, will I have to sell, or will there be money left over to pay fees and fix the boiler, etc.? So, without giving all her details away, she's just inherited a house, and she's got legal fees to pay. So she's wondering if she'll get to like keep the house, or will she have to sell it to pay for all these legal fees?
You know what? It'll be a choice because, Beth, hey, you won't have to sell. You won't have to sell, but once you've balanced everything out and looked at all your books and the incomings and the outgoings, if you can sell without feeling a sentimental loss, it would be logically the better idea. Now, I'm not saying that I'm recommending selling, because if it is a property that's sentimentally very important, absolutely hold on to it. You're not going to be worse off for keeping it, but logically, on how much the place will cost you, compounded over the next 20 years or whatever, it would make more sense for you to sell it, if we're just looking at the absolute dry facts, but you're not going to need to. What have you got there, Tor? I could hear you pulling a card.
I'm really sort of honing in on the sentimental point that you bring up
Right.
there.
Yeah.
That's what I get, that there is a sentimental connection with the property. And so I feel, Beth, that you might not want to let go of it without a fight. But what comes up here as well is that in the event that you do hold on to it and you do want to perhaps live there and, move your family in there and stuff like that, we've got the restoration card here. So it would be restoring parts of the house that are maybe needing some repairs, completely redecorating it, like changing a lot of the furniture, changing a lot of the walls, so that, yeah, you still have that sentimental connection, but it's not got the overall absolute stamp of the previous inhabitant, right? Not to say to get rid of them completely, absolutely not. It's just that you'll want to make it feel like yours. And then if you do decide to sell it a bit further down the line, or even as soon as you've done it up, some people do houses up to, just to sell them, to flip them. At least you're not giving away like a part of that relationship.
Wonderful. Yeah, it's really beautiful, isn't it?
It is. I hope that makes sense, Beth. And we have let me try and speak again. The next question that we have is the sentence I was trying to say. Is from Joy, who's also a long time listener. I think we've done some Julies for Joy before. And she asks, there's a new chap called Gabriel in her life, and she asks, does Gabriel have genuine and strong feelings for me?
Right. Gabriel's feelings are still growing, but they're stable. What you've got here is somebody dependable, somebody who's not going to all of a sudden decide that he doesn't like you anymore, somebody who's not all of a sudden going to decide that he wants to date somebody else. It looks like what he feels, he says, and what he says, he does. So his feelings have still got a ways to go for it to be like, big love, big love. It's still in the development stage, but he is dependable. He's not going to say, I love you, unless he means, I love you. What have you got there? I'm sure angels are going to be all over that love story.
Well, archangels Haniel and Raphael have come up with this reading, which is making me smile because those two together are amazing. Haniel is, of course, the angel of love, and Raphael is the archangel of healing. So the feelings are there, as Inbaal said. They're developing. It is new. It's very, very fresh. They're developing, but I'm seeing you sort of slowly clicking together. They're showing me Tetris. They're showing me the game Tetris. So it's slowly, little block by block, building the foundations. And what it says here is that you'll balance it out together. You're in this together. So you're not going to be, coming to me every week, Joy, saying, how does he feel? He's not texting me back. Like, it's not going to be one of those situations. You're going to know exactly how he feels. You're going to know exactly where you stand, because you're going to be balancing it out together. It's collaborative, like we were talking about before with the psychic work. It's a collaborative experience. It's not you wondering what's going on. It's not Gabriel wondering what's going on. It's actually very, very lovely. And I'm tuning into the energy, and I've got that kind of those new relationship butterflies, shooting up my whole body. So I think that's what you're both feeling, which is very exciting and very, very sweet. And it does feel like, with them showing me the Tetris blocks clicking in, it does feel like this has potential to be something quite, substantial. Isn't that lovely? Isn't it lovely to be able to give good news?
It's amazing. And I'm sure Joy had been through her fair share, because that's the human life. But getting to that point where you finally realize that it's clicking into place, it's just such a relief.
It is, yeah. I'm saying it is, like, I know.
One day you'll see. Why would you be the only one, on the shelf? Why? It makes no sense. You're going to be coming off the shelf. You'll be wishing you're back on the shelf. That's what I'm seeing.
Ooh. Okay, well, we'll be looking into that off air. Our next question is from the absolutely beautiful angelic Michelle. Both times that we've done readings together on the show before, she's had one from us together, and she's very, very excited to have another one. It reads, will my current living situation be stable through the next lease? It's a very, very complicated situation. So if you get like a lot of stuff being thrown at you, I wouldn't be surprised. So I think what she's trying to make sure that she's not going to be given like the bum's rush out of the apartment that she's in.
Yeah, this is really interesting. Great to hear from you again, Michelle. And thank you so much for trusting us with such an important question. There will be changes, but they're not going to be the kind of changes where you find yourself in the street. They're not going to be the kind of changes where you find yourself having to arrange your own sort of follow-up accommodation. I feel like during the duration of the lease, you might be asked to move to another property that's owned by the same landlord, because they're doing up the house or something like that. So I don't see you losing out or having to terminate the lease early, but I do see that changes are coming. What have you got there, Tor?
I see everything coming to completion, but not in a negative way. So yeah, you're not going to be homeless, okay? They're screaming it in my ear that you will not be homeless. You'll not be on the street. You'll not be left having to pay for hotels or anything like that, okay? So just to reassure you with that's not going to happen to you. It's not going to happen to you. But it does feel like this is the end of a cycle. It feels like this is the end of a hard cycle. They're showing me a washing machine. So it's like you've been going round and round and round with this. Whether that's the actual situation, your thoughts, both. And at some point, I want to say within the next 6 months, all of that washing machine energy, all of that spinning round energy, it's going to stop, and you're going to be feeling very much at peace. I am also seeing you moving property too, like Inbaal already highlighted. I'm seeing, now I know you don't have this at the moment, I'm seeing like large vases with real plants in. And I feel like this is important because it's like you suddenly being able to put your own personality somewhere. because I know that where you are at the moment and where you've been for the past few years, it's kind of like it's felt very, very temporary. It's not felt like a home. So whether I agree with Inbaal that it's the same landlords, the same company asking you to move to a different property, whether that's going to be permanent or whether I'm seeing somewhere after that, once once the lease runs out, somewhere that you're going to be able to actually make it a home. You're going to be able to make it a home. You're going to be able to have your own stuff out, your own colours on the wall, your own plants in the plant pot thingies. Something about fairies around you too. Are you calling in fairies? Are you trying to summon fairy energy, working with fairies in some way? They're asking you to write them a letter, like an old-fashioned letter, pen and paper letter, calligraphy, but to the fairies, to ask them to sort this out for you. I don't know if that makes any sense, but that's what comes through for you, Michelle.
That's beautiful.
And we have one more question from I've put the initials for these particular folk because it's very, very distinctive names.
Right.
So the question is from T, and I promise you it's not me. It's not me, because if I was going to put a fake question, it would be from Ken Adams to make you laugh.
Right, of course. Can you make sure it's also not for my firstborn daughter?
It's not.
Okay. That covers all the T's then.
That covers all the T's. So it's from T, and T asks, will I hear from A if I contact him for advice regarding some legal matters?
Ooh, let's have a look. So that's interesting. That's got several layers. So we'll go with, will you hear from A if you contact about the legal matters? Or will you also, I want to add to it, hear from A if you contact him for just to say hi? See, I feel like if you contacted A for legal matters, he's going to be like, I'm not sure if I can answer it. Let me see if I've got somebody else who can answer it. It's going to be complicated, and basically there's going to be such a lot of dawdling that you will end up either not hearing back or hearing back in such a rude time frame that you'll think, well, could have just not got back. So it comes up as good as a no. However, if you get in touch just to say hi, hey, how are you, happy new year, we're not far from that, or happy Valentine's, anything, happy Saturday, then you've got a better chance of hearing back. It still looks like it might be just a couple of messages and then not really that much more. So I don't know if you're dealing with somebody who's in a bizarre situation or somebody who's just not really open to being in contact. It looks odd, but I feel like you'd get better results from just authentically approaching as opposed to sort of trying to find reasons and causes and excuses to be in contact. What do we think, Tor?
See, I feel as though if you were to contact A regarding the legal matters specifically, they're not going to have the answers that you want. So I see a huge chance of A getting back to you, again, as Inbaal already highlighted, like, saying happy pancake day, whatever. He will get back to you. They keep saying eventually in my ear. Didn't you say about the rude timeline?
Yeah. Rude.
So that, they keep saying eventually, like that, eventually, almost like a sloth is saying it. So not going to have the answers that you seek is kind of the bottom line. But we have the alchemy card here from Archangel Camiel. And they're saying if you want to be in contact with this person, don't look for an excuse. Make the contact happen. Say happy Saturday, say happy New Year. Say, what do you think about that football game? Whatever it is. That's going to really be what brings A forward. I understand why you're asking A about the legal issue. I can sort of see your train of thought and why that would make sense. But it's a no for that part and a yes for the contact eventually.
Yeah, it's you know what? It's so frustrating to give a message about somebody who does do the thing. It's a yes, but it's really not the yes that you're wanting. So then I think it's really important for our job as psychics to sort of give the big picture, the fuller picture. But it's a yes to what you asked, but it really could be better, and he should do better.
He should do better. Yeah, the yes buts are difficult. The yes buts are almost more difficult for me than the no's, because if it's a flat no, if it's no, he's not going to be in touch, no, you're not going to get that job, whatever it might be, that's a very clear thing to pass on, isn't it? Because it's no, that's the answer. But when it's like a yes but or a no but, then I always worry that I'm kind of opening a can of worms,
Yeah, or that it sounds like you're making excuses for them.
Yeah.
I hate it when I feel like I have to petition the client on behalf of somebody else being rubbish. I always say it's not like I'm on his side, I'm on your side.
Yeah.
But the way that he's being, is like A and B and C.
Yeah, I often have to say on a psychic level this is what we get, but on a human level he's a bum.
Exactly.
or words to that effect. Do we have time to do just a general card each for people who didn't send in a question, just for everybody else?
Yeah, that's such a great idea.
Who's going to be first with the shuffle? It's a race. It's not a race, I'm joking. I'm just filling the shuffle time with nonsense.
So funny. I've got the Princess of Wands.
Do you know what? So, hold on. That's what you got on the last finale.
Is it?
It is.
In 2017.
Yeah.
And now it's 2024. That's a 7-year cycle. I mean, of course it would be the same. The age is broken down to 7 years.
Wow.
So the Princess of Wands, for those of you who weren't around that time, and also for those of you who were, is equivalent to the Page of Wands, and it shows a real fiery, no nonsense, powerful personality. She is fearless. She is fit. She has her faith, and nobody's going to tell her, believe this, don't believe that. And the message that she's sending to everybody who's not asked a question is not just be your full authentic self, but be your full authentic self in such a fearless, in your face way that nobody would be able to resist or envy or reject you. Be so authentic that the very idea, the very concept of hating on you would be ridiculous. It would be laughable. You would be so lovable because you are like nobody else.
Amazing.
So lovely. What have you got there in your shuffling?
Ooh, I have Archangel Uriel bringing the message of illumination. So really, things are going to be coming to light. Maybe the listeners will be bringing things to light by being so authentic from the Princess of Wands. Which one did you? Which do you prefer?
Wands. Yeah. Well, yeah, but it's the same. I don't mind.
See, I always think of the element. So, yeah, I was thinking fire. Anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. It was fire.
Yeah, which brings illumination. So yeah, it could be that, you know, the listeners are bringing things to light, but it's also saying to walk in your own light with this, to be the Princess of Wands, to not let people. They're actually saying to not let people fuck you around. That's the words that I'm getting, so that's the words that I'm going to give. Don't let people fuck you around. Don't let people try and persuade or sway you in a way that you know is not true to you or true to the situation. And that's really it. That's the message that I think that the sort of underlining in my psychic vision: don't let people fuck you around. So that's really the takeaway from this particular card here. Where can people find you? Inbaal.com?
Inbaal.com, or if you pop onto Instagram sometimes I pick up my Instagram messages before I even pick up my emails. So if you can find me as Inbaal Psychic on Instagram, make sure that it's not a scammer. I've got about 2,000 posts up, which I don't think my scammers do. And I will love to hear from you. Instagram is my easiest. I'm also on the Twitter and on the Facebook and on my inbal.com. So I'm pretty easy to get in contact with, but I'm just sort of giving you a tip. My Instagram is on at all times.
When they go through to your Instagram, they can click your link tree where they can find your oils, and there's a special code for Weavy listeners. It's 1010 TOR10 to get 10% discount.
Yep, 10 Tor 10.
And what are you doing next?
Any struggles? Sorry, I just want to mention it. Any struggles at all with the discounts or anything like that, just come straight to me. Come talk to me. I'm not a company. I don't have a secretary. If you click my DMs, you are with me. If you click my contact page on the link tree, you are with me. I'm the only person that answers any of my messages. So anything goes wrong, come straight to me. 10 Tor 10.
That's super important to point out too, because even like so many, like even psychics and stuff on social media, they have somebody else running the account, and it can be really off-putting, I find.
I agree. In this industry, if you don't have your authentic voice, then what have you got?
Absolutely nothing. I'm sorry.
I think the connection with the people is what we do it with. We don't do it to sell the oils. Selling the oils is a lot of fun, but we don't do it to sell the oil. It's sharing in the witchcraft is a lot of fun. But I would be really reassessing my choices if I found myself in an office doing dry emails and balancing the books all day and all night. I need to be talking to people. I need to be giving readings. Otherwise, the whole operation has been a bit pointless.
I agree. I think it's... I mean, we could go on a whole tangent about authenticity and have a whole, 10-episode series about it. But I think that one, like you say, in this industry, if there's a middleman, you're taking that away.
Yeah.
That was my stomach rumbling.
Oh, was that what it was? Brilliant.
So what are you up to? What are you doing next? What can people get excited about, in between now and February before Weavy comes back?
So we're putting together one more oil soon, one more magical oils. My magical oils are to be used wherever witchcraft exists. So you could drip it on an what do you call the incense burn, like a melty burner, or you can use it in your bath, or you can just cleanse your aura with it,
Hmm.
or like you did, you can dip your pen in it in order to make your special magical lists. And we've got a love oil that we launched in July, and we are just putting together a wealth oil. Um, Very extremely excited about that. We is me and Amanda, my good friend in the New Forest. We're putting our oils together, and that is extremely exciting for me. I hope it's exciting for Amanda as well.
I'm sure
Um,
it
uh,
is. I also use mine in the humidifier, by the way. I think that a
oh,
little drop of that in the humidifier, and then focusing on like the manifestation or whatever it is, and then of course it's all throughout the room, and you carry that with you, and it's in the air. And I use a little bit on my hair sometimes before I wash it. I just put a little bit,
yeah,
rub it around. So I'm just sort of emphasizing that you can use it anywhere for anything, and
yeah,
it
absolutely.
works.
It's an essential oil blend in carrier oils. It's all dermal grade. Yeah, use it for everything. Um, so we've got a new oil coming out. Um, what I've just been up to, uh, maybe a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, I filmed a magic course. So I've got a video course with 21 lessons, where anybody can just craft their own at home spells. It covers candle magic and a lot of hex breaking.
Ooh.
It was created as a response to popular demand of people saying, is there a curse on me? What can I do? So I've put all my best tips about magic into one course, one mini course. Is 21 lessons a mini course, a midi course perhaps. And in the next few weeks, I'm also expanding a YouTube channel that I'm involved with. Um, so I've had a little program on the Bigfoot Outlaw YouTube channel, um, for, I don't know, a few months. And from next week, there are going to be a few of those shows, especially for UK audiences, although obviously you can listen to them. And I think you might be very excited to find out who is the figurehead of at least one of those shows. Would you like to reveal it?
It's me.
Yes, it is.
So if you're not
Yes.
too sick of me after a year of Weave Your Web Revive being back, and I know a lot of you love Inbaal and I's interactions together. That's always a compliment that people give to Weave Your Web. We'll be doing Predict the weekly, I think.
Where, yeah, weekly, hopefully, um, where we will be looking at what astrological things are about to happen in the week. We'll be doing some predictions. We'll be chatting about hopefully law of attraction, um, that is suited for the week ahead, and of course, answering questions. So we'll be doing that hopefully, on Monday mornings UK time, which for those of you in the US is going to be insane o'clock on Sunday. Very late at night or very early in the morning, depending how you look at it.
I think we'll have already done one by the time this goes out, so go and watch it on
How
demand, or go in,
exciting.
if it's on the poddy places, type in, what is it, Outlaw, Bigfoot
Bigfoot
Outlaw.
Outlaw.
Yeah. And it will certainly pop up on YouTube, but it should pop up on the poddy places as well.
That'll be exciting. So these are a few of the things that I'm going to be doing between now and February.
It's amazing. That's a lot. That's a lot of things.
Thank you. When you first asked me, I was like, I don't know, nothing, just, readings. Before I realized that that would have been a lie. It's not nothing.
I had a
It's
moment
different.
like
It's
that.
the opposite of nothing.
I had a moment like that. Was it earlier? It was either earlier today or yesterday. And somebody said to me, "What have you been up to?" And I'd started to think, "Oh, nothing, not much." And then I realized actually I've been recording for a game. I've been doing readings. I was doing a lot of auditions. I was recording for Weave Your Web. Like the list just went on and on and on.
That's completely beside like your readings, everyday clients and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah. Because none of it feels like work to me because it just, I'm just having a nice time the whole time. Well, thank you so much for joining me for the finale again.
Oh, thank you so much for inviting me. You have no idea how flattering it is.
It was an absolutely amazing show. I'm sure everybody is going to be really excited to get in touch about your oils and have readings and courses. There was something I was going to ask you and I've completely forgot. Oh, you're mentoring. You're doing mentoring still.
Oh, yeah, I am still doing mentoring. I'm loving the mentoring. And what me and also Tor bring to the table as experienced psychics is our experience. So when you book a mentoring, it's me and you with our heads together for an hour, figuring out either how to increase your skill in the tarot or developing your psychic abilities one on one, or talking about the business aspect of running your psychic business, or deepening your understanding of manifesting, or looking into Wicca really inside and out. For a mentoring session, you basically have access to all the different things that run around in my brain, and you can avail yourself of all of them. I can recommend which ones, but if what you want is to listen to my cheese dreams, that is also cool.
a string of Friends quotes for an hour would be quite interesting. Because I know you know the whole Friends series back to front.
I'm absolutely up for it. Yes. You make the booking, I'll get started from season 1.
She will. Well, thank you so much, as I say, for joining me for the finale again. Listeners, I promise it's not going to be 6 years this time. Maybe I shouldn't promise. I'll aim for it not to be 6 years this time. The plan is to bring the show back in February. You'll see lots more of me then, and hopefully Inbaal will join for a few episodes next season too.
I promise, yeah. You invite, I'll be there. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I'll see you all next year. I'm waving. You can't see me.
I'm waving too. Bye.
Bye.
The onion is a tuberous vegetable and is a member of the genus Stincus delicioso. It was highly prized by the ancient Egyptian pharaohs and their friends and cousins. They cause watering of the eyes and rubefaction of the skin, but it is very, very delicious. Onions, onions, la